Okay, I'm going to assume he's done for now. You gotta go. You gotta go. Okay. 14 high violations. 5 categories. WHITI. Witty, whitey, whatever you want to say. The acronym is WHITI. Each one of those in the witty acronym stand for something. So WHITI. W, water. H, health. I, integrity. T, temperature. Last I, infestation. So each one of them has a specific number of violations that fall into that category. The number block is 51242. So WHITI 51242. It's only really helpful if you know what falls in where. But if you have the acronym and you know how many numbers are and you're struggling to remember, like, okay, I'm at 13. Where's the last one? You can break it down. WHITI 51242, and then just start crossing them off wherever you know them from. So we'll make sure to recap at the end and categorize all of them so that you know where they're at. But that's the acronym, WITI 51242. So I'm just going to go down the list that you see on the paper here. If you don't have this, ask me or ask somebody for this. We have access to this. So number 1, hot, cold, holding temperature meets requirements. Pre-chilling occurring before placed in prep cooler. So there's 2 different ranges. There's a high range and a medium range. And there's a third range that's not a violation, and that is safe holding. Hot holding, cold holding, there's a range. If you don't know what that range is for hot holding and cold holding, you should. You really should. When you're doing a temp log, right? All of our food has to be greater than or equal to 135. Most of our standards are 140, but 135 is like the legal limit for it not being a violation and above. When food is cooked, it has to be 165. When it's held, it has to be 135 or greater. Same thing on the opposite side of the edge, 41 and below. Frozen, okay, it's frozen. It's going to be lower than 41. If it's not frozen and it's refrigerated, less than 41. But take a look at the parenthetical. Hot is a high from 125 to 60, right? So that's right here, 125 to 60. And then medium is 126 to 139. And then the cold is same thing, 160 or 60 to 125. And then 42 to 59. So correction, our panda procedure is 140. 140 is the minimum for hot holding. If, let's say, EcoSure auditor walks in, sticks a thermometer in your white rice or in your orange chicken, and it comes up at 100 degrees, that's what's considered a high violation. Why is that a threat? When you're serving food that's in the temperature danger zone, you're going to get somebody sick. There's no way around it. So if it's temped within that range, between 60 degrees and 125 degrees, doesn't matter if it's hot or cold, it's going to be a high violation. Instant fail. Done. On the other side of things, medium, if it's temped and let's say it's like 131, it's not a high violation, but it is a medium. So remember that when you're testing for medium violations as well, that there's a separate range. That's an easy point if you already know your highs. Okay. So, what is it? Hot holding, cold holding temperatures, 60 to 125. High violation. Boom, temperature. Second one, proper cooking time and temperature. Cooking time, each dish is a little bit different. Normally 5 minutes is the standard for cooking time for us, but when food comes off of a wok, it needs to hit 165 degrees for it to be considered cooked and at the right temperature. Why? Food safety, food safety, food safety, food safety. I'm not going to sell somebody something that's undercooked. If it's under 165, it cannot touch a wok pan. Get it back. Okay. Temperature. Boom. See how it's all starting to fall into place? 3, proper reheating procedures for hot holding. Okay. This is uncommon because a lot of us aren't reheating food. You can't reheat something that's been sitting on the steam table and it loses food quality. You can't put it back in a wok and say, I'm going to reheat this if this isn't right. There's a couple instances that you would see this, right? If I cook something, let's say I cook a kung pao and it comes out and I put it in a pan and it's at 161, I need to reheat that in the wok until it's 165 before it can leave my back of house and go into the front of house and be considered food to be sold. Secondarily, in the state of Oregon, which is where we're at now, we don't cool rice, but in other states, you may find that you cool rice overnight. It's to preserve the quality of the rice, but let's say I take rice out of the fridge, my rice is going to be under 40 degrees. Should be, if it's not a violation. If I'm going to recook that, right, because the rice is already cooked, but I'm reheating it, it needs to hit 165 for 15 seconds. That's what this is saying. So you got another one for temperature, different. Cooking time and temperature or reheating. 2 different things. Cooking, reheating. Next, proper cooling times and temps. Rice in cooling not left out at room temperature for longer than 30 minutes. This is a rice cooling procedure in Oregon. Again, we don't do this, but so proper procedure for rice. When you're cooling rice, let's say I have a batch of rice that comes out and it's 9:30 and I close at 10, but the batch of rice is for tomorrow. You put it in a rice pan without a lid. There is no lid on your rice, and you're going to put it in the fridge overnight for it to be saved. It has to hit 2 different cooling temperature ranges within a certain period of time, but like the proper procedure is you put it in, it needs to go above uncooked food if you're going to put it on the same shelf as like vegetables. There has to be proper hierarchy because it's a ready to eat food. So consult your hierarchy chart. It's ready to eat, and it cannot have a lid. If it has lid, it causes the rice to sweat, the pan, bacteria growth, no good. Don't even think about it. Cooling rice, no pan. Lid. Yes, pan, no lid. 2 temperature zones. First, it has to drop to 70 degrees within the first 2 hours. After that, it has to hit 41 degrees after the second 2 hours. So 4 hours total, 2 hours down to 70, 2 more hours down to 41. No direct cross-contamination or adulterated food observed. Food from approved sources. No direct cross-contamination. What's cross-contamination? 2 different food sources or ready-to-eat contact surfaces crossing. For example, I am cutting broccoli. I'm cutting broccoli. I set down my cutting board and my knife. I pull out a bag of teriyaki. I open it on the same surface with the same knife, whatever that is. If it's in the same area, oh my God. If it is on the same food contact surface, that's cross-contamination. You can't use the same tools. You can't use the same food prep area. Nothing. Food cross-contamination, high violation. Next, adulterated food observed. Okay, adulterated just means there's something in it. Fingernail, Band-Aid, eyelashes. That's why we don't wear fake nails. That's why we don't wear like huge fake lashes. Anything that is in food is considered adulterated. Last part of that one, food from approved sources. So all of our food comes from Sigma right now. Or if I'm ordering food from like a veggie source, like United Salad, it comes from there. That way it's screened. We pay for it to be screened in good quality. I don't have to worry about it being infested or like treated with chemicals that aren't approved, anything like that. It's approved because we know it works. If you go to Safeway and buy a bag of onions and bring it back, high violation, especially if it's observed. We're not doing that anyway to practice good practice, but like it's approved source because we pay to have it screened. It's treated well. That's integrity. Okay. Employee health meets requirements. Don't be sick. No cuts on your hands. No coughing, sneezing, oozing, bleeding, nothing. If you're sick, don't come to work. You are a direct health threat. It could not be easier. If you are sick, don't come to work. Health. Hands washed appropriately and hand sink supplies available. Okay. Hand washing procedure. There's a correct way to do things. Towel first, soap, washing, hot water, drying after without hitting another button. You're not re-dirtying your hands by hitting the lever after you've already washed them. So if you need help knowing what proper hand washing procedure is, reach out. We can show you. But hand washing with proper procedure and the supplies are available. So I have hand soap sink that's in the hand soap dispenser and I have it available. If I don't have hand soap available, it's also a high violation, immediate fail, because I know you're not washing your hands. Like, there's no integrity there. So that is water. Water has 5, right? WHITI, 51242. Okay. Hand washing. Number 8, temperature log falsification not observed. Do not lie on your temp log. It is the easiest way to get fired. It is the easiest way to fail an EcoSure audit. If something does not temp on your temp log, throw it away, make a new one. That's the only substance that you can, that's the only solution, not substance, bruh. Okay, that is the second integrity one. Temperature log falsification not observed. Even if it's not observed, don't falsify your temp logs. If you didn't do your temp log on time, cross out the whole section or just change the time to when you did do it. That's not falsifying. Number 9. Rodent cockroach activity not observed. This one is an infestation. So rodents are like mice, rats. Gerbils don't really run around, right? We don't really get those. And then cockroaches. There can't be any droppings, animals, cockroaches, scratch marks, claw marks, larvae, eggs. Nothing to suggest that there's activity of bugs or rodents in the store. Again, direct threat to customer health. They carry a lot of diseases, and it's just gross. So we have a third-party company, Eagle Lab. They come in once or twice a month, depending on your store, and they deal with shit like that, like overnight. You know, you'll never see them because they take care of it overnight, but if you find bug traps, rat traps, the fly, blue lights, that's what those are for. Okay. That one is in infestation. Also in infestation, number 10, fly activity not present. Same kind of thing, like why flies congregate around food is potentially hazardous. Again, it's not super safe to have them in there. The number of flies is important. If 5 are observed, high violation. If it's 4, it's not a high violation. You'll probably get coached on it, but like, if you have a fly problem, get a fly swatter. They're like 99 cents at the store. Or figure out where your flies are coming from. It's probably because there's food that's sitting down underneath your steam table that's unattended, or your trash hasn't been taken out, whatever that is. Like, all signs to lead to, okay, my food is not safe. If you have a safe store, you never see flies. Unless it's like summertime and you're in Florida or whatever. Okay. We're almost there. We're at 11. Sanitizer is available at proper concentration at the facility. This is 200. We have a range that you'll see on your temp log, but 200 is like perfect. Okay, 11. Sanitizer is available at proper concentration. So this is 2 things. 1, it's available. Do you have sanitizer in the store? It's the red bottle. You need to have it. If you don't have sanitizer in the store, instant fail, because I know you're not sanitizing things. I know you're not clean. Dirty. 2, the sanitizer buckets. When I'm testing them as an auditor, I have a testing strip, which you also need to have. You need to have testing strips right by the dishwashing sink, and they need to not be expired. So this is really a 3-parter. 1, have your sanitizer. 2, have your strips and make sure they're not expired. 3, have proper sanitizer solution in your buckets. and in your dishwashing sink. 4-parter. That's a big one. That one's also in water. Why? Just to make sure that your sanitizer is working. If your sanitizer solution isn't strong enough, your sanitizer is not working. Even if you're sanitizing things, it's not getting done well. So it could still be a high threat to food safety. Okay, number 12, water available and hot water meets requirements. Hot water, if you don't have hot water in the store, again, I know you're not washing your hands properly. I know you're not dishwashing properly. And whatever sink you're temping, they have to be meeting the requirements. So if it's a prep sink, it's 110 that has to hit. If it's a back of house sink, like a dishwashing sink, it's got to hit at least 120. And then hand washing is minimum 100. So another water one, water is available, so water works, and hot water meets requirements. So the follow-up question is like, what are those requirements? Again, 120, 110, 100. Okay, 13. We have 2 more. No sewage backup. This includes toilets, drains, and sinks. What is sewage backup? Literally what it says, sewage coming back up. So we have things that are called backflow prevention devices. You can do a little bit of research on the side for bonus points if you want to try and figure out what they are in your store. For example, one of the backflow prevention devices we have is a 6-inch recessed drain and a drain cover. So if you notice the drains in the back house or wherever we have drains, they go down 6 inches into the ground. That is to use physics to pull water or whatever's in the drain out of the drain into the drain from the drain. Wow, a lot of drain. So what does that look like? If a drain comes back up, it's not the same as a clog. Backflow is it literally comes out of the sewage pipe or out of the drain pipe and it's going the opposite direction. High violation. You shouldn't be seeing that on a day-to-day basis, but it's different than a clog. So if you have a clog and you can deal with it using some kind of like a plunger or a pole or whatever it is that you have to use to get rid of a clog to show that it's not sewage backup, that works. But the things that can have backup, drains, sinks, toilets, all of those technically can go the other direction. And then to 14, at least one operable toilet for employees is present. Pretty self-explanatory. 2, if you don't have a working toilet, there's no way this is safe. There's just no way that like your restaurant is safe at that point in general, right? If you have 2 that work, you're great. If you have 1 that works and 1 that doesn't, technically that's a medium violation. If you have no toilets that work, that is a high violation. Direct threat. Okay, so that's all 14. Let me go through and I've named some of them off, right, in water, health, integrity, temperature, infestation, but we'll go through right now to check off. We'll just go one by one. So number 1, hot holding temperature, 1. Proper cooking time and temperature, okay, temperature, 2. Number 3, proper reheating procedures for hot holding, temperature, 3. Number 4, proper cooling times and temps. Rice in cooling not left out at room temperature for longer than 30 minutes. Also, if you're cooling rice, you put it in a fridge. You don't leave it out at room temperature. So, like, when you cook a batch of rice, you have to cook it and then put it inside the rice warmer. It can't sit in the rice cooker for 30 minutes. That's a violation. 4. Number 5, no direct cross-contamination or adulterated food. That's integrity. Number 6, employee health meets requirements. That's the one we have for health. Number 7, hand washing. That one is a water. Number 8, temperature log falsification. That one is integrity. 9 and 10 are both infestation. So there's R2. And then the rest, 1, 2, 3, 4 are all water. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So the last 4 are water as well. So there's your 14 high violations, W. Now that you know what they are and why they are important, you do have homework. Your homework is going to be to memorize these 14 and write down your violation set, all 14 of them, 10 times. So you should have 10 sets of 14 violations. That's 140 total that you should have memorized and written down. Write them down in pen. Don't type it out. Don't do it in pencil. It just works better for your brain if it's using a pen. Okay? Spam it out. And then the next time you go to your store, see if you can identify a high violation. If you can, bring it up to your supervisor or manager's attention right away. Explain how you found it, and then fix it. If you can't find a high violation, which hopefully you can't, see if there's any mediums or see if there is a high violation potentially on the way. So our water's cold. My sanitizer strips are close to expiring. I'm running out of sanitizer, something like that. So that's your homework for this video. And then in the next video, we'll talk about environment.